So, True Grit is out. You've heard from Ethan Coen. Now hear from the good doctor.
Well, it's very good. It's interesting. In that interview, there was that question at the very beginning about, is it a remake, is it a adaptation of the book? And I did a thing on the Culture Show with Christopher Frayling, Professor Sir Christopher Frayling, who knows a lot more about westerns than I do, and he pointed out, and he's quite right, that there are, yes, it is close to the book, but there are things in it that do come from the film. And of course, the thing that passed me by is that he was saying, of course, the whole idea of the eye patch, the Rooster Cogburn eye patch, is actually from the Wayne book. So although it was interesting there that Ethan Coen was making quite a big play of, it's a long time since I saw the film, I can't remember it, it's a distant memory.
I can't quite believe I haven't seen it.
Well, what Christopher Frayling was saying was, look, there are things in there that are clearly coming from there are things that are absolutely Coen Brothers' invention that aren't in the book. Like, for example, the scene with the guy turning up on, with the bear head on, which is very, very Coen Brothers, coming out of the thing, and he's with the bodies which he's selling. There's also a wonderful moment which I don't remember being in either of the sources, in which they come across a hanged body, and it's hanging really high off a tree, and there's a line which I thought must be from the book but apparently not, in which Haley Steinfeld, the young girl, says, Maddie Ross says, why did they hang him so high? And Rooster Cogburn says, presumably in the belief that it would make him more dead. And there is the closest thing in terms of this adaptation to the book is the language, because they are doing that old, slightly biblical language. I have not done, you will not do. There's none of the abbreviations, none of the modernized abbreviations. And that's the thing which locates it most as a sort of, as a more historical and, inverted commas, authentic piece. And also is the thing that gives it the flavour that the film has. It's beautiful. It's very cold cinematography, great big wide open spaces, but wide open spaces that are not sunny and blue skies, but are cold and bleak and imposing. Snowy, yeah. You actually get the impression, and a couple of times there are some sort of long shots in which you see them in the middle of this, and you think they are going a really long way into very barren territory in which the environment is hostile. There's also, of course, outbursts of violence in the film that are much tougher than would have been in the Wayne or Hathaway. There's also that central difference that in the you've seen the John Wayne version, right?
Well, I don't know.
Well, you probably
maybe
have.
many years ago.
You will have done. It's been on television loads and loads of. In the Wayne version, he's crotchety and difficult and curmudgeonly. But in the Coen's version, he's positively obnoxious, and there's a much harsher edge to the Coen's version. And of course, the Coen's version doesn't shy away from the sucker punch at the very end, which we won't reveal. But there is, in fact, there were times in Jeff Bridges' performance when I found, I was like, what? Eh? And in fact, I watched the film twice, and the first time I watched it, I found, and some people have tweeted about this, is it me, or can you not understand what Jeff Bridges is saying? He's gone, it's almost like he stepped so far back from, because John Wayne comes on and he has baggage and he's John Wayne, so it's almost like if Jeff Bridges, regardless of whether the Coen brothers are working in reference to the Hathaway version, Bridges is working as in, I'm running as far away from the John Wayne performance as I possibly can. So he's running around in the long johns that are stained, and you can smell him. There's a scene very early on in the beginning when Matty Ross comes to try and get Cogburn to get up and get on his horse to go out and do this thing.
Well, it's like he's still the failed country singer who's down on his luck.
Yeah, but he makes the failed country singer who's down on his luck, and who at one point in Crazy Heart has to go off stage and throw up in the bins outside to come back and finish the song. He makes that guy look clean and hygienic. There is that scene when he's wearing, the long johns. It literally looks like first one of the program.
It's the first one, yeah,
he looks like he has not been out of them for quite some time. However, the standout in the film, Matty Ross, that young kid is great. Haley Steinfeld is wonderful. It's very interesting that the Oscars she's been nominated Best Supporting Actress, where she has a chance of winning, but clearly she's the lead actress. At the BAFTA, she's up for Best Actress. She narrates the film. How is that a supporting actress then? I understand the campaign will be, well, she's got a chance of winning in that category, and fair enough if there's a chance of getting on, but it is an absurdity.
Yes.
If she's the supporting actress, then Matt Damon is the leading actress, and Matt Damon is great. Matt Damon, in many ways, he has the most difficult part, because that role, La Beef, that role is the creepy role, it's the unlikable role, it's the one in which you said he looks flabby and difficult, but it's the laugh role. Of course, when you compare that to Glenn Campbell, who everybody's very, very down on, but, I don't think that's his fault, to be honest. But I do think that what Matt Damon manages to do is to take that sidekick role, that dandy role, the guy who's very full of himself, who's got the spurs, and has got his whole heritage, and this is what I did, and is basically the set-up, obnoxious guy. He's neither the heroic, grizzled rooster character, nor is he Matty. He's the other one. But actually, didn't you think that Matt Damon handled that brilliantly?
Yes, in as much as I said to Ethan Cohen, is that
You're going to stick with that now.
I think so. Is that you really? I mean, I know things change as you go through the movie, but you kind of think, no, don't like you, and I can't remember the last time I didn't really like him.
But I think that's a real achievement, and actually towards the end of it I did like him, because what I liked was the fact that it's very interesting with Matt Damon. He has kind of, when nobody was really looking, turned into an actor of very great range. Again, I was thinking about Hereafter is out now, and there's all this problem with Hereafter that people don't like it, and a couple of people texted in saying they thought it was terrible and how could I be so nice to it. And the thing that I was not was because, to me, Matt Damon did something interesting and convincing with that role. And there's a scene in Hereafter in which Matt Damon has to explain to the girl that he doesn't want to read her future. He doesn't want to see into her mind, because once he's done that, they can't ever go back to where they are. And I think he plays that scene brilliantly. And all the way throughout True Grit, I kept thinking, okay, all the attention is going to be, from Jeff Bridges, Matty Ross, because she's extraordinary, Haley Steinfeld, age 13, now 14. And yes, Kim Darby was 21. Of course, actually, the other key thing is that the dynamic is different, because in True Grit, the original True Grit, Kim Darby is 21. She's playing slightly younger than that, but basically she plays it as a school teacher. Whereas, the Matty Ross...
Which is a huge difference, because she is a child in this.
Yes, she is. And that scene at the beginning when she's seeing the lawyer off and she's bargaining with the lawyer, and she's smarter than him and faster than him and harder than him and tougher than him, it really works. And that she is really something. And you were saying it's that same old story. We looked forever. We interviewed 60,000 people.
Well, they always say whatever they... and Ethan was talking about it a bit, but the story is that they trawled America, they had open auditions, and then, you know what? Just at the last minute, she walked in and she was in Los Angeles and she was just around the corner. If only we'd started there. But then they always say that when they're looking for a kid.
Yeah, but it's like the thing about why is it that when you're looking for something, it's always in the last place you look. It's because the last place you look is where you find it, then you don't look anymore, because it'd be foolish. If it was in the second to last place you look and you found it, why would you carry on?